I said no. I said I wasn't. Oh, hello, everybody.
Oh, are we live?
Are we live?
Well, hello.
Welcome to our Cannon Fodder stream.
Little Sunday afternoon nonsense.
Little Sunday afternoon nonsense is right. In fact, Troy, there's a lot of nonsense going on here. We got a couple guys in the back of this place putting together shipping boxes.
Just packing hats.
We got to get hats out, man.
They're not gonna ship themselves.
They're not going to ship themselves. If this constant tape sound gets really unbearable, let us know.
And
we
we'll-
think it's far enough away that it's
Yeah.
not going to be a bother, but we don't want to.
If it is, we'll probably just keep doing it. But let us know, and we'll think better next time.
Because, man, do these hats have to get out. There is a high demand for hats, people.
We sold 100 hats in 5 days. We were not at all prepared for this. We're never making more hats. No. We got to introduce ourselves. We didn't do our textbook opening.
No, we're not doing the textbook. I mean, this is the Twitch. This is the behind the scenes.
Oh, this is like before it starts.
Exactly.
So this doesn't make it to the actual
No, this doesn't make it to
episode.
the audio show, the actual audio show.
I
This
see.
This is special for you guys. We want to say, of course, a huge hello to everybody in the chat right now, because it's going to be hard once we start out. Oh my God, so many people. Aramel's here, Molson's here, amazing Otto in the house, Kaiju Kyle, yes,
The Suspicious Bulge.
Dungeon Admin 1,
Vicky Games.
That sounds a little ominous. Who's watching us? Vicky Games, welcome Vicky. So good to see you here, man. It is a pleasure to see everybody. We're gonna get to Cannon Fodder here in about 2 seconds.
Yeah, I think we should just get this done,
Yeah.
so I can spend literally 1 second away this week, away from the Glass Cannon Network,
Yes,
because I have not had that moment yet.
Yes, it would be wise of me to spend some time with my children this
I'm
weekend.
just throwing it out there.
Little things.
The little things.
Are you ready?
Yeah, I guess we should.
Should we do our warm-up exercises?
Yeah, okay.
Oh, the jumping jacks and push-ups?
I'll do mine right here. I'm warm. Consider me warm.
I said go!
Let's go. We'll do it live.
Okay, can we get some silence up there, shipping boys?
Oh, shipping boys. Put on your loincloths.
Put that back on.
Dance for me, and then ship.
All
all
let's
right.
get some silence for
Some
the actual audio
silence.
show.
This is released as an actual podcast. So let's just wait. Silence, Joe.
I said silence.
Silence.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Cannon Fodder number 92. My name is Joe O'Brien.
And I am Troy, easy like Sunday afternoon, La Valley.
It is a beautiful Sunday afternoon here in New York City, and we are so happy to be with you, with all of our GCP Nation friends on Twitch.
The nation's here.
As we shoot this live in our studio. And yes, a beautiful, gorgeous Sunday afternoon, just the kind of day you want to be in a studio.
I would much rather be here in this air conditioning than out in that 85-degree heat.
I guess it did get a lot hotter. We've been here all day.
Yes.
Because, spoiler alert, we've been recording
We've
stuff.
been recording every single day this week.
Always be recording.
ABR.
ABR. That's the new motto of the Glass Cannon Network. We have a ton to cover today, and not a whole lot of time to do it.
20 minutes tops.
We need to talk about our shows, obviously. Here and there, we have. We want to talk about some big announcements, of course.
Talk about
And,
announcements.
we talk
Woo!
about.
We shouldn't be giving this away.
Talk about announcements, and also, of course, the bulk of the show. We want to hear back from GCP Nation.
Yes.
We want to talk right to you guys in the Twitch chat. If you are not live with us on Twitch, if you're listening to this on audio,
What
and
is wrong
wanna-
with you?
I know you've made huge mistakes. If you want to see this live,
Reevaluate
make
your
sure
life.
that you are following us at Glass Cannon Pod on Twitter, Facebook.com/The Glass Cannon. Is that what it is?
No, not
Glass
at all.
Cannon
That can't
Podcast?
be right. I think it's just
Well, just-
Facebook.com/Glass Cannon Podcast.
Okay, so just find us on Facebook, because we announce there generally like 3 to 5 days before we go live with Cannon Fodder. It's
Sometimes
just-
hours before.
right, because it is just we have to kind of fit it in at the end of the month, and we don't know where it's going to go. So pay attention to our social media, and you'll be able to find the going live times for this. But for those of you that are here, we're happy to be with you.
Yes, this is what I call our phoning it in show.
No, it's
So
not.
so that's what I call it.
That's what you do.
That's what I've got a
I
lot
don't phone
going
it
on.
in. I take at least one page of notes.
See, that's good. And I then
Before I start
copied
this.
those notes. I feel like
he took Joe's
newscasters.
notes.
Like as the credits are coming up, we should just be like,
Yeah, but just fake talking. Yes,
would be
that's a
fun.
much better video joke.
yeah, see,
than audio joke.
That's
See?
why you gotta watch this live.
That's why you got to tune in. A quick note here on spoilers, okay? We are going to be talking about our shows here and there. We don't know what questions we're going to get asked. We are talking about here through episode 169 of the Glass Cannon podcast.
What happened in that episode?
All
we
right,
can't say it.
We'll
I'm
get
sorry.
to that. We'll get to that.
I don't know what's happening.
Episode 20 of Androids and Aliens. Episode 18 of Raiders, Raiders of the Lost Continent.
Wait, that shit, has that come out last week? Because don't forget, Monday, Tuesday's episodes haven't come out yet.
Yes, I know. What I'm saying is that's what we're spoiling through today.
I don't know if that's correct.
Wait.
No, it is correct.
Of course it's correct.
I'm still nervous we're going to make a mistake.
I said I took notes.
We're doing 3 different shows right now. It's very hard to keep track.
You know, it is funny you mentioned that because we are on such a pace right now, and I'm going to get to why in a second, where we're so far away from some of these things that we've recorded that I'm like, what are we going to give an accidental spoiler away? Like,
I'm
we have to be
petrified of this.
We have to be very careful. So we're going to keep it to a minimum and mostly just have you guys ask the questions. That's why we love our listener mail. But we have 2 big headlines, if you ask me. 2 headline pieces of news. This just in for the Glass Cannon Network. The first one is, Troy, congratulations on the birth of your son.
Oh, I had a child.
He had a child since the last FOD.
I got a baby boy.
The baby boy.
It's Archer LaValle. His name is Archer Hastings LaValle, born July 31st, 6:24 a.m.
Mere hours after our last Cannon Fodder was recorded.
Hours after I rushed
His
from
wife was
Fodder.
already in the hospital.
She was already 9 centimeters dilated. I came in, threw off my headphones, and delivered the baby right there.
He ran out of the studio with the headphones still on.
I was like, guys, I'm sorry, no time.
Wire flying behind in the back. But no, that is congratulations. Good
Thanks, buddy. Thank you.
It is. He doesn't like shaking hands.
No, I don't like touching him. It's very exciting, man. You had a kid, your second kid, about a month before.
Yeah, 2 Cannon Fodders ago.
2 Cannon Fodder.
We marked the birth of our children around our Cannon Fodder
Right.
release schedule. So, we have both had newborns in the last 2 months. Mine's 2 months old today.
Couple
and
of boys, couple of future nerds.
Yep, couple of future boys to sit with us around the gaming table.
As
So-
like I said to you when you came to visit me at the hospital, you can teach my son how to field like a really hard line drive, and I can teach your son how to make love to a woman. I think that's fair.
Oh man,
He's got to learn somehow. He ain't gonna learn from his old man.
yeah. Well, you stink at baseball. All right. So
Line drives are tough.
the other big piece of headline news is the Doomsday Dawn Twitch from Friday night. Come on, talk about. I mean, I don't even have really the words to express what that was like.
There are no
And
words.
That experience was just incredible. And I'll say a quick footnote here. I expect plenty of people on this Twitch have not seen it yet.
No.
Because it was a long, late night. And so I'm no spoilers on this. I don't know what people are going to say in chat. Guys, try to take it easy. But I want to talk about the game itself rather than the story, et cetera, because we want people to be able to watch it that weren't there Friday night. If you weren't there Friday night, Troy,
By the way,
how can you watch it?
we got 2 options. One, if you're one of our Twitch subscribers, and thank you if you are, you can watch it right now, video on demand. Please don't leave Cannon Fodder. Wait till Cannon Fodder's over, for crying out loud. Then go watch the stream on demand. Otherwise, you can watch it on YouTube starting when? Tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to post the whole thing to YouTube. Because
You're out of your mind.
you know what? For people who have jobs, Monday is usually the worst day of the week. I want
Yes.
to brighten everybody's Monday.
I know. I was thinking,
Just a little bit
how
of
great would it
Doomsday
be
Dawn.
at lunch at work to just be, boom, throw up the old Doomsday Dawn
Right.
Twitch from Friday night and then just not work for 5 straight hours.
It's 4 hours and 40 minutes long. If you start it like at 12:20, boom, right through the end of the workday.
I know if you're one of those people that does not like how short our episodes are, there you go.
Right.
YouTube tomorrow, Monday. And if you're listening to the audio release of this on August 30th, I believe it is, then you are
Fodder.
It's already out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So go to YouTube, find it there. It is ready for your viewing pleasure. It's an entire arc of a little story. It's great.
It's great. And it's just the
Fantastic.
beginning. We're going to be doing these at least every other Friday until it's done. Now, some of them might run multiple sessions. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But in the meantime, every other Friday, we're going to go live on Twitch with the Doomsday Dawn part 1 through 7. And then that following Monday, you can catch it on YouTube. Unless you're a Twitch subscriber, you can watch it video on demand.
So, I don't want to just talk about it like it's news. I want to get a little feedback feedback from you because we shut that off at 1 a.m.
We did.
We did hang out for about 2 hours just cleaning up and trying to come down off an adrenaline high.
We were high.
But like I didn't really get a chance to properly debrief. So I wonder what what were your feelings about how the broadcast went? Let's start with the broadcast, not the game.
There's a lot of nuts and bolts here.
You and I have been talking.
How was the game?
How
were the mechanics?
Broadcast?
I thought the broadcast was great.
I did too.
I have spent an inordinate amount of time over the past couple weeks creating a television studio here, and I said to you that I have never been more excited about something that we're doing, which isn't to say that the other shows don't excite me, but I felt a real genuine joy that I haven't felt in a long time creatively as an artist getting this studio together.
Now, have you worked on television sets or just like
Sure.
on shoots?
Yeah, both. Yeah, I've worked on professional television sets as like little bit parts.
Yeah.
On like 30 Rock, I did. You don't really get to see a whole lot when you're doing that. Working on like a student film or an independent film, then you really get to see a little bit more. I keep saying how the sausage is made.
But it must be really neat to be doing it for yourself, making it, building it for yourself.
And ultimately, that's really what I want to be doing, is doing more video, doing more self-producing. And that's what it felt like to me, from going to B&H and spending hours there getting all the stuff to coming here day after day and just spending hours figuring this equipment out, figuring out how to make it work, and then having you come in and take OBS, open broadcasting software, and let us do all the switching between cameras and everything. The way it came together very quickly.
I mean, last minute. Some of
minute.
those pieces were very last minute,
Yeah.
and I thought it went really well as
I
well.
couldn't be happier.
And I hope it keeps going at that quality. Mm-hmm. You're talking about that stream going out. We were worried about it dropping. We were worried about losing the attention base of the people that were there, but that never seemed to happen. And so on that end, it was really really great. So what about the game itself? Was there anything that stood out to you in particular? From a game design standpoint, was there anything that you thought, I do like this or I don't like that?
I mean, I love it. First of all, I just love the Pathfinder playtest.
So you see yourself, 2 years from now, probably just playing second edition.
I wouldn't say that.
Okay,
I wouldn't say
you're not going to go that far.
Just because, I'll tell you what. I will tell you right now, live on camera, if Paizo were to ever go back and convert all of the old adventure paths to second edition, I don't know if they have plans on doing this. I'll text Eric Mona right now. I'll be like, Eric, can I say this live? But like, if
you mean our Twitch subscriber, Eric Mona?
Twitch, right? Somebody.
Sorry, that was a spoiler from the show.
If they were to do that, take Rise of the Ruin Lords, take Curse of the Crimson Throne, and to be honest, I think they probably will at some point.
Yeah.
Then I might convert fully, but still take things that I like from first edition.
We have too much left to do in first edition.
That's why I don't see
our bucket list
completely
is
moving on.
way too long in first edition to just walk away from it simply.
And you'll find out soon enough, we might be adding to that bucket list.
So if you are interested in running Doomsday Dawn,
yes.
How many hours of prep did this take you, putting together this first part of this adventure?
Well, it's different because not only am I preparing for an audience, but I'm preparing for a video audience. So it actually took a lot more time than I normally spend. I rewrote the whole thing. Obviously I'm plagiarizing. I'm taking their things, but I like to add my own stuff as well and figuring out, like, they give you information, like, how do I want to disseminate this information to you, and how do I want to disseminate it for a video crowd as well so they can follow along. So I would say that's one of the questions in the playtest survey for the GMs. How long did the session take to run? How long did you take to prep it? It took 4 hours and 40 minutes to prep it. And I'd say I took about 4 hours and 40 minutes to play it.
To run it.
I think it took me about 8 hours to prep it.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. And on a scale from 1 to 10 of just difficulty of concepts and stuff in order to prep, where would you say it would fall for someone who's going to pick it up tomorrow and try to prep it?
Have they played first edition?
Yeah.
3.
3 hours, or 3 level
3
of
out of
difficulty.
10,
it's a relatively simple adventure.
And here's the thing. There were things that I couldn't wrap my head around that were really giving me pause because I just wanted to make sure I wasn't going to drag stuff down while we were live on air. As we started playing, I felt like, oh, wait a minute, I understand this. I'm understanding this through the immersion of playing better than I ever could, like cross-referencing the core rulebook to Doomsday Dawn. It's a very intuitive system. Don't get me wrong. There is plenty of crunch in there. You and I both talked about this. There's more crunch in there than some Pathfinder stuff. They have not dumbed down anything. But I feel like as you start playing that 3-action economy, the way that the combat's kind of spread out into the room a lot more instead of bunching up like they do in first edition, it seems to flow a lot better.
I agree. I totally agree. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Taking everything into account, the game itself, the broadcast, what was the most fun part of the night for you? What did you walk away with thinking the most?
Most fun part of the night, seeing that we have the chance to apply as Twitch partners now.
Yes.
That seemed pretty fun.
Yeah, I mean, to me, the word milestone comes to mind.
Yeah.
You know, it was a big night for us in that respect. We got an email during it from Twitch saying, you've qualified for partner status, go ahead and apply.
Yeah.
You know, and again, that's because of you guys. So your loyalty to show up and be there at the right time, late at night on a Friday. And for some of our European listeners, early in the morning.
Yep.
There were people over in the UK that got people together basically in the middle of the night to watch.
There were
this
watch
thing.
parties.
Doing watch parties.
All over pubs.
Oh, man. We love you guys so much. So, yeah, that was just thrilling.
It was great. I mean, I literally can't wait until the next one. And we already have some surprises that we're not going to talk about.
I was going to ask you if we're going to talk about that.
Well, the reason I don't want to talk about
You just need to have a couple more Stellas.
a couple more.
And then you'll be talking about it.
All I will say is Nick Lowe is going to be on.
Woo!
Replacing Matthew Capitacazzo,
That's
who
right.
has sadly died.
Again, yet another death.
He is very, very
For the
sick. He was sick and now he's dead. Nick Lowe is going to be making his not his debut, but
certainly his video debut and certainly his Pathfinder 2nd Edition debut.
Yep, and his character. I mean, he's going to be here for the whole shebang. And part two is a bear.
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to get it done in any less than 10 hours.
And I can speak for Nick when I say he is very excited.
Mm-hmm.
So he's going to be bringing it. It's going to be.
I didn't even think we were going to announce this.
It's going to be a fun. I think it was great that you announced
not
it.
on the syllabus.
That this is what you get when you tune in to the Twitch.
To the throwaway
This is what
show.
you get. Stop calling it that. This is a lot of work. I'm going to stop working on this. All right, I want to move on here, but before I do, I want to do a quick shout out to my friend Seth at Wooden Legs Brewing Company.
Seth.
Who sent us some really nice glasses,
Yep.
which I'm enjoying right now, some really nice beer. And we just wanted to say thank you so much. It was so generous. He just sent it along and said, thank you guys, love the show. And he's a head brewer there at Wooden Legs Brewery.
He also sent a T-shirt, which I took.
You took it?
I did.
God damn it.
Well, it was a large. I didn't want you guys to stretch it out. And it's too big on Matthew.
I don't want to get this wrong. I'm not wrong, right? When I say this, it's in Brookings, South Dakota.
Let me see
Is
here.
that right?
Brookings, SD. Yes.
I believe that's South Dakota.
It is South Dakota. He sent us a 6-pack of pale ale, a couple pints, some coasters, and a really cool T-shirt.
A nice stack of
Thank
coasters.
you. I mean,
yeah.
you can never go wrong with sending us beer. 2, we'll drink it live on the Twitch and give you free plugs. We have no
There you
problem.
go. There you go. So
Free advertising for beer.
if you're watching this from outside Brookings, South Dakota right now, you know where to go get a cold one. I want to talk about the Glass Cannon podcast. We're playing a little adventure path called Giant Slayer.
Oh, man.
Perhaps you're familiar with it.
This has been a busy week for us because we have recorded Giant Slayer, we have recorded Dead Sons, and we have recorded Doomsday Dawn and Cannon Fodder. My brain has nothing left.
Yeah,
Nothing.
it's going to be kind of confusing what goes with what, but I will say I'm kind of impressed with myself. By myself, I mean us.
I thought you'd be impressed with me.
Well, I'm impressed with you.
What do you do?
Always, Troy.
What do you literally do
I'm-
other than show up and fail at rolls?
I prepare the page of Cannon Fodder notes.
You do that, and you do a hell of a job.
We have bounced back and forth between systems pretty well, I think.
Yeah.
All things considered. We're not mixing and matching too much, but that also I think goes to show you that they're pretty significantly different from each other.
Yeah.
They stand apart. So you're not gonna mix up too many things. In this last month of Giant Slayer.
Yes.
And I mean, last 2 episodes in particular, an epic combat.
If you're not caught up, just tune out for a couple minutes.
Yeah, I mean, against the fire giant, starts out as a fire giant encounter, but
Yeah.
really just sort of morphs into this, a Remoraz, fight to stave off death. Just brutal.
Brewer Seth says, "Hey fellas, nice beer glass."
Oh, I'm so glad he's here.
Brewer Seth!
Yeah, because he was like, email me if you mention it, so I know which episode or whatever. And I was like, I'm gonna have to remember to email him after the show. Cross that off the old to-do list.
Brewer Seth!
Awesome. Thank
Sorry,
you so much, Seth, for being here. So it turned into this Remoraz death match, basically, with the patrol coming by, Ice Wolf and Ice Troll Patrol. Mm-hmm. Ice Troll Patrol. Say that fast. And, I wonder kind of going into it was this your intention at the start of this thing? I would guess from the time we found the door locked and you knew we had alerted somebody inside.
Yeah.
Was your intention not to fight straight up, but to get the camp involved? Was that like, however I can do that fastest, that's what I'm going to do?
My intention was to at some point have the patrol come in and extend a fight. To
And
really
some fight.
have a wave of attacks happen.
But before we sat down and actually faked, knocked on that door, faked the giant
I had no
voice going,
intention, no
you
intention.
did not know that the patrol was going to
No,
be coming.
it was honestly, it was as I have all that stuff ready. It was as you started just demolishing my guys, and I was getting I was wasting my opportunity with the fire giant. I was like, how can I spice this up?
I was getting wasted
I was getting
while I was playing, and I
wasted while
made
GMing.
terrible decisions.
No, I mean, I felt like I had squandered a great opportunity with the fire giant because you guys were playing super smart and super careful. How can I spice this up? Yes, the Remorazes are coming, but I think I'm going to make this be a 3-wave encounter.
And it turned out that exactly that way, really nicely. I was wondering if you had like paid Grant off to walk out on the ice. If you were like, just do me a favor tonight, just walk out on the ice so we can really get this going juicy, because that opened up a world of visuals and activity in the combat that just elevated it right out of the gate.
Yeah, you can just see them coming out. For me, it was like where Grant is only going to attack with his gun and wants to get 20 feet away unless he casts long shot. I'm like, just keep drawing him out. Just keep drawing him out. The second he got on that ice, I was having those Remorazes come out. So
You want to kite him. You want to kite him,
exactly.
as they say in the business. Well, I got frustrated with the situation because you tactically and very smartly avoided my attempts to draw your attacks.
Yes,
because
you were upset about this.
I've built a tanky character, and you are avoiding him in what felt to me like an unrealistic way, almost as if you knew you couldn't hit me at first glance. Now, perhaps with one look, that would be the case, but it does bring up an interesting question that you mentioned to me, and I just want to kind of talk about it on air.
Let's air
really
it out.
kind of flesh it out, which is
Airing of grievances.
It's the question of whether or not a non-damage dealing defensive expert build in Pathfinder is just irrelevant because it doesn't work the way it works in video games.
Right.
Because your GM can just so smartly ignore you. So, if you agree with that, then it's like, why ever build really high defense at the sacrifice of other things?
Well, that's why it's really up to the GM. Like, if that's what interests you, because it's really my job as the GM to find out what interests you and find a way to give you a little bit of that while also hopefully imparting upon you what interests me and seeing if you get excited about that. And that doesn't always happen. There are things that I like that everyone at the table doesn't like.
Right.
But if that's what interests you, you're really interested in exploring defensive tactics, then it's up to me to not just eschew those. And I think I've done a pretty good job throughout the course of the adventure of like having, even when you were doing it with Sir Will, like having them try once, maybe even try twice, depending on the intelligence of the creature, and then move on. So at least it buys you 2 rounds. Now, I'm not going to go so far the other way where I'm just going to keep attacking and missing. Let's see, I hope this works. But with a highly intelligent creature, I'm also going to go so far the other way and be like, no, nice try. I know that I can't hit you. And in this case, not to say that they were highly intelligent, but they knew. They knew.
I wonder how they knew.
They just knew.
Yeah, no,
They saw
I
your
get
character
it.
sheet.
I get it. So the question is, do you just never build that kind of character as a player? It's just never build sacrifice sacrifice damage for high AC.
There are some people who would say that. I don't think that's true. I think that this is something that you might be overly interested in. You did it with Sir Will. We were doing it with Forebears. You did it with your Jade Region character. Might be time for you to move on, Joe.
Well, I've built a few other things in between.
Nothing. They're all one-trick ponies.
Well, when you talk about fitting into a party like we have, which is the situation with Forebears, where you're kind of coming into a pre-built party that has a ton of damage output, a shocking amount of ranged damage output. I guess I could have made something that does more damage in melee, but the problem is just with giants. Man, as soon as you're in melee, you're a round or two if you don't have a high AC from going down.
Yeah, that's what Vicky Games just said. High AC keeps you alive. So even if that tactic gets a little tired and doesn't always work depending on the GM, it's got to keep you alive.
Right. And by the way, I don't regret this in the least with Forebears. Forebears has a lot of options besides high AC. And his high AC is even, we'll get that character sheet out there very soon, but his high AC is also a temporary thing. Like it's a boost basically that's based around his spells and abilities.
Yeah.
It's not based on just wearing heavy armor and walking around with high AC.
Right.
So he could trade that out to do other abilities. He has the flexibility.
Are you enjoying playing Forebears?
Oh, I'm loving it.
Yeah.
I'm absolutely loving it. I mean, the mechanics are incredible. When I first played the Shaman, I wanted to play it again, but I felt that going right to 11th level was going to be too much just too mind-boggling with wandering spirits. You have your spirit, and then at a 5th level, I believe you get wandering spirits, so you can borrow at the beginning of the day from any other spirit, which is sort of like the build you choose at 1st level. You can change that build temporarily for the day by choosing another one, and then you change your abilities, supernatural abilities, spell-like abilities that you get automatically with that spirit during that day. And so it's like,
that's cool.
It's a great idea because they're wandering spirits. So you just kind of like draw them in, but you have to do a lot of work and you have to understand all of the schools of wandering spirits. With the amount of games that we're playing, I just don't have time to do that. And it was so neat finding an archetype that is so focused. The archetype gets rid of the wandering spirit, focuses on one thing, and it makes you more like an oracle than a shaman. In its mechanics.
That's very cool.
So, you become the spellcaster and you have these connections to the spirit world. It's really, really neat.
What is Shaman again? It's Witch?
Oracle.
Witch Oracle, yeah.
Yeah, but this really brings out, this Speaker for the Past brings out a few more of the Oracle elements.
Do you think if you were to play, another class sometime down the line, which part interests you more, the Witch part or the Oracle part?
Practically the Witch part.
Really?
Yeah, I think the Oracle part is so interesting, but every time I really sit down, I'm like, I think I'm going to build an Oracle because it's such a cool idea. I can't ever find a character that I feel I can play.
So it's a role-playing issue.
Yeah,
for you.
it's a role-playing issue for me. I can't wrap my head around how strange and kind of detached. Like, Matthew did a great job of playing a Gormley that is a little bit strange and detached. I feel like I can get to that place.
Right.
But, you could see Gormley being an Oracle as well. There was something about her that was, but it just doesn't come naturally to me. And I think that I need a little bit more literal characters,
Yeah, I think it's a shame because I think oracles and paladins don't get played a lot because people don't know. They don't want to get involved with that kind of role play.
Yes.
And that's a bummer because they're great classes.
I know. It's a great to be like a necromantic, like wasting sickness oracle. We had a friend play that in one of our Pathfinder Society games back in the day, and he played it a few times, and he played it great, but it was just so weird. And look, and we were all very open to like playing with whatever, working it in. But it is a difficult thing to bring into an adventuring party that's going out to like solve the world's problems, to have a necromantic oracle come in. It's tough. It's tough to play.
People swear by, there's some archetypes of oracles, or not even archetypes. I think they're just builds that people swear by as the best, most powerful builds you can. I think one is like an Oracle of Bones or something. Have you heard of that? There's a couple that people are like, best class you can ever play.
Yeah, but the Witch is pretty amazing. I got a shout out to Vicky Games, who says Oracle would be great for Joe, though. I mean, he could be twice cursed.
That's true. Maybe they'd balance out and cancel each other out.
They might just balance out. So
that's a GCP, man.
Was that all I had for GCP?
I feel like that's enough.
Oh yeah. You know why? Because my Androids and Aliens section is juicy.
Let me see here.
Because we're talking about
what was the last episode?
Episode 20 was the last episode.
What happened? Oh, wait, that's kind of like a quick role-playing app.
We're going to focus on 18 and 19 for the purposes of the FOD here.
Yeah.
There is some great Meishun stuff, though, in episode 20 that it was really cool to get a piece of. Yeah. But I'd rather get Grant in here to talk about that. But episodes 18 and 19 are a string of kind of two combats. One rolls into the other, and we end up with this absolutely horrifically brutal encounter that at the end of the day, I mean, you said it on social media. I said after editing it that it was one of my favorite episodes that we've ever done of Androids and Aliens. I felt like the tension was so palpable in the room, and it was so intense. I mean, we thought we were really looking down the barrel at a TPK. And so I want to ask, first of all, I want to give a shout out to a listener here who wrote in, Chris from Moscow, Ohio.
Oh.
Chris from Moscow, Ohio.
Yeah, international listeners.
Writes in and he says, I'm GMing Dead Sons right now. My group says that it's like a video game set on hard mode with the monsters with higher attack bonuses, higher damage output, and combined with the diseases. There's talk of reducing the monsters' bonuses to make it easier, but I'm hesitant to do so. I think Paizo spent quite a bit of time on playtesting this game, and it's meant to be this way. Should I just back off my stance and reduce the number of monster stats to make them happy? Now, here's the question here, and I know that's an easy answer for you, but as the quote-unquote arbiter of fun,
right?
Am I supposed to cater to each group's definition of fun or just play my own personal style. I want to do the right thing and foster an environment where my players and I can have fun.
Well, it depends. Like, I wouldn't have fun doing that. So why am I playing? Just to make everybody else happy?
Right.
I'll find a new group. You
Right.
know what I mean? That
Totally.
like isn't going to be so far against what I want to do. It doesn't mean I need to like shove my way of playing down your throat. But I think it all comes down to balance. Like, you have plenty of easy encounters. Now we're going to have some Dark Souls encounters. And if you don't like it, then suck it up. You know what I mean? And like, you guys were fired up in that episode. We had to cut a lot out because it's just not good radio.
I mean, there was some language that just could not.
Frustrated.
Could not.
And meanwhile, I'm like, you guys are so ungrateful because I would love to be in your seat playing this encounter. It doesn't bother me when I just like miss. How about if I try this? No, because I'm just like, all right, what if I try this? What if I try this? But that's the way I like to play. I can't expect everyone to like that. However,
that is not 100% true. You get pissed off when you have a long string of bad luck. You yell, you shout, you slam tables.
but it's a fun pissed off.
Of course.
It's like, son of a shucks.
Right.
You know?
But I mean,
you guys
as
are
mad
like,
as...
You literally, while we're recording today, took a D20, and I'm sure it is destroyed because you threw it at top speed across the room. And we'll edit that out. You're just like, ah!
Well, you'll know. You'll know when it comes out why that happened. You'll be able to point out that exact episode. But I do want to I want to comment on this, too, because I think that it is an important distinction, though it's not so easy. I mean, we have Krob1290, is longtime friend of the Twitch, who says, hey, Chris is my DM. So he's in this game. Krob, explain yourself. I mean, why are you complaining about this being too hard? You know, it's like, of course we complain, but I think our complaints are a little bit more justified. This brings me back
Here we go.
to the transition between 18 and 19 and the decision not to allow us to take a short rest retroactively.
Right.
I want to bring this up in the context of a debate, right? An argument in which I want to continue my point of view, which I had mentioned in the episode. But you have to understand, this is under the pretext of like, we're both aware that your decision in this case was the right decision.
Right.
Because the way it all worked out was the best possible way it could all work out.
Probably our best episode.
Exactly. So I'm not saying that I wish you did it differently. What I'm saying is, without the perfect knowledge of how it all ended up, if you look back at that decision, I want to make a case for the fact that when you're talking about players making errors that are not intentional, that are errors of omission, right? Where you forgot to rest. You didn't say we want to push the action forward and not rest because we want to just get back to the Acreon, let's say, and they jumped us on the way back. We weren't expecting it.
Sure.
Can we please just say we rested? Like, we're not talking about that kind of situation. We're talking about a situation where
Talking about just being stupid.
Yes,
Right.
where you're just stupid. And obviously, like, you put it out there as a punishment to the players. You're like, well, you won't make this mistake again. I get it. I just feel like that's a little bit of a hefty price when you know the encounter that's coming up with one character already down. And if that results in a TPK, you're going to have a lot of ire from players for a reason that is not totally fair to you, but which is going to come out. Whereas if you allow the short rest there, the combat, it could still very easily result in that TPK, but they can't come back at you at all.
Sure.
You know what I mean? But does that make you weak for saying you would do that? I don't think so. For saying you would let them have the short rest. In that situation, I would have done it.
Yeah. Would you? Yeah, I guess you probably would have.
Well, I'm a little bit of an easier GM than you, but make no mistake, you guys have not seen me do a lot of GMing. Like, I'm not an easy GM.
No, not at all.
But I'm easier than you, for sure. But like,
I'll take it a step farther, just to show you where my head's at.
Okay.
I will sometimes try and trick you guys into forgetting to rest, just to F with you.
Devious.
Yes.
So
that shows you I am so far on the other side. If you make a mistake,
you are playing against your players.
I am, because I want it to be hard so that when you do succeed, it means so much more. Now, if people die because of it, I don't know. I still think it's great. It's great podcast. It's interesting. I'm picturing this story happening in my mind.
Well, that was my other question. Did you make that decision because it's a podcast? Because you looked so
you know
good
how I
on
GM
radio?
When we're not.
I know, but I'm saying, like, would you have been a little bit more? Because look, the context of this is talking to other people about what they do in their games in these situations.
Right.
You know, would you have taken it easier if you weren't trying to play up the danger?
Not at all. Not
Not
at all.
at all.
I honestly, and I've been this way since I started GMing. I hate when people rest. I hate when players rest in situations that doesn't totally make sense. Now, of course, you can go back to the 8th round, you can rest, you can come back. But I hate dungeon crawls where you just keep resting.
Yeah.
To me, it just breaks the reality of the scene. While you're resting, everything's resetting in some sort of way. Now, as a GM, I don't want to reset. All right, now you're going to fight that encounter again because they sent in reinforcements. But I just feel like trudge through, use your consumables, change your fighting tactics. If your frontline fighter is now down, now you've got to have somebody else step up. Like, I want you to power through to the end without resting. But that's just how I like things, and I understand other people don't like it that way. But if I can trick you out of a rest, I'll absolutely do it.
Well, if we can go back a month in Raiders of the Lost Continent, this is exactly what you did with the Colonel when we lost Cal.
Yeah.
Was this like, we want to push forward right now, even though we're down a member at the moment. So we're like, really? We know we're going to go mechanically into some kind of boss fight here. Mm-hmm. And you want to go in down a character and go in 3, and you were just like, yeah, no question. We're not going to go back and rest. That doesn't make any sense. We're going to finish the job. And I think that it's great to have that kind of player at your table that pushes the action in that kind of way so that you as a player can be like, yeah, let's go do this as well, rather than always having, that player who's like, let's just play it safe, let's just play it safe, being the one that's leading the group. It can create a slowdown in the action, and much, much worse, less fun, because there's less danger and less high stakes,
You got to find that line where I think if we can play a game like this, and as a GM and as players, you can create a situation where you are evoking visceral reactions from people. Even if that visceral reaction is like real, palpable anger. Like, I am so frustrated to the point where, like, I don't even know if I'm enjoying this. But then to have it come all the way back with a success and feel joy, I think it's an amazing thing that you can do with this game. And you feel it with video games too. When you finally beat that boss, you tried to fight 50 times, you finally beat it. I think that's the beauty of games.
And you really, it's what you just said summed up episode 19 of Androids and Aliens. That's really what it was. And then episode 20 rolls out with just a little bit more. You have to come down off of this intensity.
Yeah.
And we get back to role-playing a little bit, learning a little bit more about the characters, exploring a little bit. It was a nice change of pace, because that last session, I don't think we could have recorded another episode after that. That night was like, we're done.
Yeah, no, and you need that, especially with what's coming up in the rest of this book.
What?
Oh, man, it's going to get ugly.
What?
Ugly!
Well, I don't really, as far as Raiders goes, I don't want to go too much into detail, because I think there's people on here that need to join us on Patreon at the $5 tier and up and get caught up on Raiders of the Lost Continent.
I'm having a blast with that, too.
Oh, my God. That's just been great.
That party is so fun.
Yeah, it really is. I think that it's a testament to just playing at such a high frequency over the last few years, more than we ever played before. It's just the amount that we're playing together has increased our odds, for lack of a better word, of coming to the table with characters that might have really intense idiosyncrasies, but are built to work with other people in some way, and can find a way to create relationships quickly within the personalities of each other's characters. So I think as we grow from Glass Cannon to Androids and Aliens to Raiders of the Lost Continent to Stay Tuned, there is this element of, I think, increase in the quality of our play that just comes from repetitive. It's like getting reps in it's football training camp right now.
Yeah,
it's all about reps.
Our
it's
comfort
working
level,
together over and over and over and over suddenly increases your quality. Your rhythms start to work better, and your character creation follows suit.
Yeah, especially when you're working with low-level characters, too. You don't have to worry too much about the mechanics, so you can kind of more easily slide into it. If you're playing an easy piano piece and you're a master pianist, you're going to be doing so much more than someone that knows how to play that piano song.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's, I feel like, what we're doing.
So you're saying we're all master pianists.
We are master penises. Penis.
Certainly after that comment, we are. Certainly.
Oh, boy.
After that comment. Well, I don't really have any more unless you do in terms of the shows.
Good night, everybody.
I would love to get to some announcements.
Oh,
because
we're going to do some announcements.
I just can't wait.
All
I
right.
can't wait.
I better get my mic ready.
I mean, you already skipped ahead on one of them, which was that, Doomsday Dawn Part 1 is releasing tomorrow.
Tomorrow on the tube.
On the YouTube. So check us out there. If you're not subscribed to us on YouTube, there's another one. Please subscribe to us.
What the hell's wrong with you?
That is
Subscribe
Troy.
to us on YouTube.
Troy, don't get angry.
Is that
at
not
them.
the tactic?
That is not the tactic.
Sorry, please subscribe
You
to
attract
us.
more bees with Doomsday Dawn.
Doomsday Dawn.
It really is a huge help to just hit that subscribe button because it helps
close.
us get ads and all that kind of stuff, which
Yep.
is a big part of subsidizing and growing the network. What else did we have? Oh, you released a very exciting design. Was it about a week ago, 2
Yes.
weeks ago, for pre-order on our site? Go ahead, Troy.
Yeah.
Tell them what you did. Those who don't know already.
Well, we're expanding our merch catalog a little bit.
Jesus.
That's not the right drop to play when I'm announcing merch.
Well, I mean, it does fit the T-shirt you're about to talk about.
That's true. We're trying to expand our merch catalog. We're working with some new artists, and we brought the hats back. Those are already sold out, so we'll be bringing those back again very soon. And so I reached out to Robert Atkins, who's done all our main art so far. He did our Starfinder characters, and I had this idea to take Mac and make her into the maple syrup bottle. So now you can pre-order up until next Friday. Pre-orders are available. That maple syrup shirt. If you haven't listened to the show, then you probably don't know what I'm talking about. But if you have, that's the shirt for everyone except you.
You see, this is why we need a cannon fodder producer.
Right.
That is going to just like, whoop, the image swoops in right over my face.
Right over your face.
And you just kind of
preferably.
gesture to it.
But, they're flying off the shelves, and we haven't even created them yet.
So, I mean, you guys, I can't understate or overstate, I guess, how important it is for us to get those pre-orders in. Because we don't have, the more shirts you buy, the less you're paying per shirt. And for us to buy 1,000 of these things is impractical. We don't know what we're going to sell, and then we end up with a lot of dead inventory, and that really cuts into what we're trying to do here, which is put out more content. That's the most important thing. So to be as efficient as possible with the T-shirts, pre-orders are huge, huge to helping us get there. So if you think you might get it one day, just go buy it now.
Yeah, and what I want to do with the shirts is like when we release a shirt, that's it. That shirt comes out once. If you get it, great. If you don't, you miss out.
You want to do like a T-Fury sort of thing. Like you don't get it and then it's gone.
That's it. We'll move on to another shirt. Hey, you can get the next shirt, but if you like this one, this is your only chance. Now, that being said, we are going to order a few more than the pre-orders, but pretty much if you want to get it, you should pre-order because it will be gone. Not unlike the hats. So get your shirt today.
So get your shirt today. Not before the next cannon fodder. Just after the next cannon fodder. We're doing our first ever live show.
Oh, boy.
Well, I mean, we've done live shows.
We've done live shows.
But our first ever live
you're
show
lying to them.
in a proper live music venue.
Yeah, like a real place.
Theater. It's a real theater in L.A., the Bootleg Theater.
Los Angeles.
L.A., baby.
Ooh. The Sunshine State.
We really wanted to do something on the West Coast, and we know a lot of people in LA, and we have connections there that were able to help us out and get us into a really fun situation. So it's going to be an actual, real show, which is really exciting. And we also announced at the time the tickets went on sale, and they're still on sale, by the way. They have not sold out.
No, they
VIP
will.
tickets sold out, but there's plenty of general admission available. $25. You can come and see us in LA. It is, we did announce that it was going to be a new adventure, the start of a new plan for us.
Yeah.
In terms of the live shows. And Troy's here for a little more info on that.
This is what they tuned in for, man. This is it. Well, as we were doing these shows in the past, when we did live shows, it started at Gen Con, I think. And then we've done, we did PAX Unplugged last year. We did PaizoCon this year. And, we pretty much just took the characters that you all know and love, and I put them in like homebrew situations where you get to see them in action again, maybe characters that are no longer with us, fighting enemies that are no longer with us. And it's more of like a fan service, like kind of fun battle royale.
Yeah, for the most part, they were battle royales. They were MOBAs. You were building MOBAs.
Sure, I don't know what that
Tabletop
is.
MOBAs.
But yes. And I was like, if we're going to grow this into a real tour where we're going from city to city and theater to theater, it has to be something more. It has to count. It has to matter, and you need to have new characters that are going to carry over from live show to live show, from convention to convention. So I was thinking, like, do I really want to / have the time to create a homebrew for this? Like,
Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, with all the time that I have, I figured I'd write 2. And then I would take another crew on tour with one homebrew, and then take you guys on with another one.
Why write just one when you can write 2 in twice the time?
I just wanted to double my workload. So I didn't want to do that. So then I was like, okay, well then if I'm not going to homebrew it, what are we going to do? And so I started looking at some of the Pathfinder modules, and I'm like, oh, this seems interesting. I could take somebody from like 1st to 4th level, but then I was like, well, then what? Or if we start at 3rd level and go to 6th level, well, then what? We'll just then take those 6th level characters and take them to 8th level. I'm like, well, what do we got to do? Is we got to make these live shows an adventure path. There's the only logical choice, Joe, is to just start a brand new adventure path. Now, if we only do 5 live shows next year that are 2 hours long each, that's only 10 hours.
Say only 5 live shows to my wife.
Only.
Let's see what that response is.
Is she watching?
Oh, please. I haven't told her yet.
Dude, if we're doing this full time, we can handle 10 live shows next year. But let's say we do 5. Times 2 hours a pop. That's only 10 hours of an adventure path. So it may take us a long time to finish this. But hell, if we get to a point.
But I think that there's also opportunities, not just at live shows, to do things, whether it's live on Twitch or whatever, to fill in gaps.
Dude,
and yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
Especially when you saw what we did with Doomsday Dawn Friday night. If this becomes our bread and butter, where we're doing this all the time, then let's throw in a session of this.
You and I are doing a lot of back and forth on this. We're brainstorming a lot about this. And what you're about to say next is what you said to me recently. And I was like, mind. Hoopla!
I don't remember what I said.
What you're about to announce.
Oh, when I told you what we're going to do?
Yes.
So I was like, well, what are we going to do? We got to pick an adventure path. This is the most exciting thing. And I thought about it for all of 2 seconds. We've got Giant Slayers, that classic Lord of the Rings, good versus evil. We've got Starfinder. We're covering sci-fi.
Science fiction, yeah.
Science
fantasy.
Science fantasy. Excuse him.
You said it.
You know what we don't have?
Shut up.
We don't have something that I think we can do both well and add a certain comedy twist to it that doesn't remove the effect of the emotions that we're trying to stir people up in.
And live.
We need to do horror. We need to find a way to bring horror into Glass Cannon Nation. So in Los Angeles.
Don't scream into your mic.
I will scream when I get excited. On October 7th, Sunday, we will be doing session 1. All new characters. Strange Aeons.
Strange Aeons, baby.
It's happening in L.A.
The images that I already have in my mind.
Oh, man.
Of doing that. I'm getting chills just thinking about it.
I'm throwing up in my pants.
Well, I mean, just watching what you're going to do to Skid live in a horror show.
That's what really sold it to me. Just going on the Acreon and seeing you guys' reactions, I was like, I wish there was a time we could run Strange Aeons. I barely looked through the rest of the adventure paths. I was like, nope, we're doing Strange Aeons.
So when we first got on the map here with Giant Slayer, this a couple years ago, we were first talking to Paizo, and they didn't know who we were. And then we started having some contact, and we met Eric Mona in person. And then all of a sudden, things started to rock and roll. And then they were like, well, just talk to our marketing person about what you want to do. And we said, well, we want to do another show as soon as possible.
Right.
Mostly because we just wanted to play another AP. We didn't want to be locked into one AP. That was the release of Strange Aeons. And so they sent it to us, and we were like, we'll have this out in August. And it was like June. And we just didn't realize what it would take. And then this was 2016. So this is like, it was
before the Patreon.
No, it's just 2017. It was right after the Patreon started.
Okay.
So we weren't even close to like really pulling the stuff off.
No.
Oh no, you're right. This was before the Patreon started.
I think it was before the Patreon.
2016.
Yeah.
Crazy. So then, we end up basically like shelving it. And I thought it would never come back because we're so far removed from it by now with all the other things that have come out that I let it go and I forgot about it. And none of us but you read it, or at least read the first book of it. Mm-hmm. And you had raved about it. And obviously everybody at this point has been raving about it. And so now when I imagine the live experience with it, I get so excited.
Dude, it's going to be so much fun. And I think what we're going to do is really, as we continue to evolve and do new and exciting things, I think we're going to let you people help decide what characters they're going to play. I haven't decided exactly how we're going to do this because
This is dangerous to talk about live.
This is dangerous because I don't
We're
want.
still in the brainstorming stage.
I don't want you stuck with a character that you're not interested in playing.
Right, and
just
I also
because the fans think it'll be funny to see you play this or that. You know,
right? Something with no attack bonus. No, I want to play something that I don't want to just create my own character either.
Yeah.
Like I absolutely want to involve GCP Nation in the whole process because we're going to be doing it with GCP Nation.
Yeah.
This is going to be a game that we're playing with our friends of GCP Nation.
Right.
And I imagine things in the live show even involving people at the show. So there is that element that you have to factor in too. You put all that together, they have to be involved somehow.
It's going to be like Blue Man Group.
Just like that.
I want every live show to be a party, and everyone ends up covered in toilet paper at the end.
I was just thinking about how scary it would be if we played a strange Aeons game and I walked out with a shaved head and like all pale.
Yes.
Oh,
Or there's just a guy standing in the back staring.
from Blue Man
From
Group.
Blue Man Group. We just throw cotton balls in his mouth. You look in the Strange Aeons, what is it, Player's Handbook, and they give you about, 20 plus archetypes for every different class. Like, it'd be fun to play this archetype, this archetype. I'm thinking about just putting those out there and finding, like, tournament style, what character Matthew's going to play and what archetype Skid's going to play. I think that'd be fun. I don't want you guys shoehorned into something that you're really not interested in because it's going to make for a shitty show.
Yeah.
But I think there's a fun way to do it that involves y'all that is going to, you're going to have a lot more agency in this. Like, I totally wanted Joe to play a Oracle of Bones. And
Right.
I got it.
Right, and I got him. Yeah, I mean, we do actually have to be passionate about the characters that we're playing, but you know what? A lot of that comes in the role-playing aspect and in the creation of the backstory of the character. You can always reverse engineer that into something you want to play, you know?
Yeah. I'm excited. If you're not coming to LA, you better buy your tickets right now because we had 50 meet and greet tickets, sold out of those in 3 days. So they added 50 more. They can't add any more of those. So we sold 100 meet and greet tickets. There's not a ton of tickets left. So please, if you can come on out and see this show because you'll want to say you were there when it all began. That's all I got.
Well, that's not all the announcements.
Nope,
we have,
that is it.
Whew, man.
That is it. We cannot give them any more gigantic announcements, Joe. We can't. Oh, my God. Are we going to talk about this?
I think we are, man.
I can't do it. I can't do it.
Yeah.
Come on.
He's walking away. He's walking away.
All right,
You did list all these things out that we should be talking about on Cannon
What was I
Fodder,
thinking?
and I just responded, laundry list. I was like, the things that we are getting out there. Well, the $35,000 goal.
This should be on Cannon Fodder 94.
We spoke about. Now, look, there's still a lot to reveal about this. This is, let's call it a teaser, a second teaser.
All right.
An advanced teaser trailer of $35,000 goal, which is we had posted a teaser up on the Patreon saying that the characters of Disorganized play,
What did we
the
say?
evolution of Disorganized play.
Evolution of Disorganized.
Their greatest adventure yet. We teased it on the Patreon saying this, and we have wanted to bring Disorganized play back. Me more than anybody. Any of you out there, there are so many wonderful, awesome GCP Nation people out there who have written in or have sent emails to me specifically saying that they want to see Disorganized play again, and they miss it and they like it. And believe me, I couldn't agree more. Just we have a lot going on right now, and we're trying to prioritize and get out there what we want to get out there.
And on top of that, you really weren't enjoying it.
No,
I
wasn't.
Sort of sticking
No.
to the strict rules of the Pathfinder Society.
Right. I'll say right out of the gate that is the harshest thing that I had to deal with was like, I'm not cut out to be an official PFS GM. It's not my game. I like to bob and weave. I like to change and shift the adventure around what I like, what I think is balanced and fun. And I like to have the freedom to do that. Not having the freedom to do that bothered me because I did like the idea of doing these as official characters, but it just has become more of a burden, and we haven't really gotten the benefits of having those official characters do anything official with GCP Nation. So maybe maybe Skid played once or twice, maybe. I don't think anybody else has played. You know, you have certainly never brought Randolph the Great to a con and played. That was our idea to begin with, but we don't have that kind of time at cons, we have found, and we don't have enough cons in the year, especially having small children at home and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's been a little bit more complicated than we originally wanted it to be, and I wanted to get back to adventuring in a way that is a little bit more my speed. Mm-hmm. So we had a long talk about this, and we thought about sort of evolving DP into a campaign of sorts. That sort of idea. So our $35,000 goal is to release, and right now this could change. This is early. We're in the early stages.
Tomorrow.
Our plan is to release every Friday that there isn't a Raiders of the Lost Continent.
I didn't know we were going to talk about this.
Possibly. This is the plan. Every Friday that there is not a Raiders of the Lost Continent,
Cut the mic.
an episode of your favorite Disorganized play characters, Randolph the Great, Jane Lowe.
Coming back.
Tishpak Zabubu, Abzu Shamash.
Coming back.
Gary.
Oh,
Mezia Grave, Aliatra Baker. I mean, we have scores, and we can get more and more. Doing the epic Pathfinder Super Dungeon, the Emerald Spire.
Wow.
The Emerald Spire, good buddy.
Wow.
That, you want to talk about a bucket list.
We shouldn't be saying anymore.
How long have you and I talked about doing and Skid, too. Have we talked about who's going to run it, who's going to play it, when are we going to play it, when are we going to fit it in? In all these years, we have never managed to get it done.
No.
Now, we have a lot of ideas about how this is going to actually be executed in terms of the game. A lot of that's not decided upon yet. A lot of things are going to shift and change over time. But we just wanted to get this out to you. Now, for those of you that don't know what the Emerald Spire is, it is an incredible dungeon crawl, basically a super epic. It's a supic dungeon crawl where each floor of the dungeon is written by a different designer at Paizo. So Lisa Stevens, the CEO of Paizo, for example, wrote the first floor, and then
I didn't even know that.
Eric Mona wrote, I think it's floor 13. Like,
there's more than 13 floors.
Oh, there's a ton of floors, good buddy.
Yeah.
And there's a lot in between. So, I mean, I don't want to go into too much more detail here, but rest assured, we are planning an experience that is unlike any of our AP shows. The experience of the show is going to be different.
Yeah.
It's not going to be like our AP shows. We got a lot of things in mind that are going to make it fun and different. And we're thinking about kicking it all off with a live stream.
Yeah.
So we're talking about getting it started with a nice, chunky, juicy, long live stream in order to get you guys to see what this really is going to look and feel like and get those characters into a nice, long session to move into this new story and do that before we hit the $35,000 tier.
I just hope,
hopefully as a way to get there. And then once we get there, we can release it more regularly.
I just hope that a great and powerful wizard like Randolph the Great can survive in such a dangerous dungeon. He's just a squishy wizard.
Yes, it is an extreme. I've been reading it. It's extremely dangerous dungeon, but it is, I think, the kind of experience that we all could use as a change of pace. It's different. I don't want to go into detail. It's just different. Trust me, it's going to be a different.
It's not
kind
like
of
there's
show.
no role playing.
No, not at all.
There's some, but this is just a different kind of game.
But it has a game element to it that the other ones don't have. That it's going to be really neat, and I think, and just really, really fun. So
I can't believe we're talking about this.
I know. Well, we have a long way to go to get there. We need your guys' help to get there, and we really hope that you can continue to help us on our journey to make that a more regular thing. But hopefully, this fall at some point we'll have a live stream to kick that all off. I would love it.
I'm excited.
I would love it if we can make that happen. And I mean, that's pretty much it for news and announcements. I think it's time.
Yep.
We get to a little listener mail.
There's a lot of it.
It's time to listen to mail. Gotta get your brain up on it. Time to listen to mail. You gotta cue that fucking A.
Always a cleric writes in and says, "Did I just up my Patreon subscription?" You know it.
Yep.
Well done. Thank you so much. That is just thrilling. All right, guys, we're going to try to bob and weave here through a series of questions with you. If you're in the chat right now, throw us some questions. If you don't hear your question after a little while,
it probably wasn't good.
Yeah, please repeat it. If you don't hear it after 2 times, just stop with the ridiculous question that we're not going to answer. Any news on getting the audio drops / Sirenscape sound set? That's N. Kleinwa asks. We were very close on that. We were very close.
Yeah, it's no fault of Sirenscapes. And I mean, if it's anybody's fault, it's ours for just being way too busy. We've had to prioritize so much other stuff before getting this sound set out. Some of it has been recorded. I don't want to say what has and what hasn't, but we're working on it. It's being held up on our end. I wanted to get this video going. I wanted to get 3 shows out at a time.
Basically, unfortunately, guys, every single thing about what we do has been prioritized over getting that sound set out. But things are recorded. Things are recorded and done and finished and in Sirenscape's hands.
Yeah.
It's just we've asked them not to release it yet because we're just not ready because we want to do a proper release with some other stuff that we haven't recorded yet, and we want to put it out in such a way that maximizes our ability to reach the most amount of people. So it is it's tied up right now in the works.
Yep.
But we did some really good stuff, I think.
I think it's funny.
I think we did some really funny stuff. So that should be coming.
Joe, we'll go back and forth.
Yeah.
I'll ask one. How long is the meet and greet at LA Live going to be? Glass Cannon Live?
Easy until they kick us out.
Until they politely ask us to leave.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that's going to mean in LA. I don't know exactly. You know, the thing is, this venue has been booked for us through a booking agent. So they know all the rules, and they're working on all that stuff. We actually aren't privy to all the little tiny details. And there's going to be a lot of things out of our control at the actual venue, which is unfortunate, but it's a... what do you call it? Just a curse of, being in a situation that's much easier for us to do and much more easier for you guys to see and hear. The lighting's going to be better. The sound's going to be better. Everything's going to be a better experience for you. But it also means that they take control of a lot of that experience. And so we have to learn that as we go. But a lot of the stuff, once we put the tickets on sale, they were like, well, we'll worry about those details when we're a week out, because they're going to wait until then. I'm not sure. I would say we would have at least a couple hours, right? Don't you think?
Totally. And if not, we'll go someplace else.
Right, exactly. At least a couple hours, and then we'll probably end up. You know us. We're going to end up someplace else
In LA at some diner, no doubt.
But the meet and greet
Hollywood
there,
Boulevard.
I'm so looking forward to the meet and greet there because it's actually going to likely be a little bit more structured than in the past.
Yeah.
Which not ideal for us. We like to be much more loosey goosey with you guys, but it is going to mean like we're going to talk to every single person in that room.
That's the goal.
And that is going to be the fun part of it.
Unless they don't want to talk to us.
Well, yeah, but then don't just buy a general admission
Somebody
ticket.
might be a Matthew guy and not a Joe guy.
Right. They don't like anybody.
Right. I get that.
Mostly because they don't like themselves.
Right. I imagine the line for Grant will be short. I'm kidding.
You are such a jerk.
I'm so mean. All right, you're up.
All right. Let's see. We've been asked this before. I would like to ask it again, I think, because I always think it's a good one to throw at you because it can evolve over time. Unstable Hamster asks, how do you plan to handle the inevitable TPK when Troy gets his way?
How do you plan to handle it?
Oh, well, not well, like a child. No. How do you plan to, we're 3+ years in now.
I've thought
Has
about
your
it.
thinking on this changed at all? It's for you, it's always been, well, we make a new party and we start right from where we left off. I mean, is that still kind of where you're at?
I feel like in Giant Slayer right now, there is no such thing as a TPK. There could be the death of the 4 characters that are currently playing the adventure, but there are other characters that we've introduced into this world that we could pick up the pieces
What
of them.
a beautiful thing about how that has evolved. That's what I think is like that has
insane.
evolved. Like we didn't talk about this in advance. That's just evolved in such a way that you're like, we've populated the world with characters that can come back. And I think that's really gives us an out for a TPK in a neat way.
Yeah, I don't see it happening, in the traditional sense. Like, oh, everybody died. Okay. That next episode, that is a must listen to episode to see how do we move on from here. That's what I think. Now, if it happened in Androids and Aliens, we'd just stop playing Starfinder. That's what I think.
Sorry, this is not a question, but I got to go back to our good friend Crowd1290 who says, I'd like to point out about Chris's question earlier, his GM. I wasn't the one complaining, and I was the only one who had a character who died.
That's fair.
Isn't that always the way? Isn't that always the way? Any plans for more live events in NYC? Are you kidding me?
Oh my God.
Yes.
In our backyard.
In our backyard, bro. But it is going to be more structured, more regulated. It's going to be at real venues. And it's going to be, we are really keen on doing that, honestly, to be perfectly blunt, because of the money. Because we don't have to pay to travel. You know what I mean? And so, I mean, New York is going to be on the list every single year. I just don't know. The question is more than one in New York or not, is kind of more so the question.
A spring and a fall.
Because we also have so many GCP Nation members in the Northeast Corridor here. This whole route, there's a lot of people here that would come out and see us. And so, New York is absolutely on the list. Any plans for shows in Europe? I want to tell you something, Dorb Donnie. That is top of my list, besides the American cities we want to hit, especially in the Midwest. That is top of my list because I never even conceived of that a couple years ago. Never even conceived of it, and now it's a real legitimate possibility. And I don't know when it's going to happen. It's certainly not been talked about yet in a professional standpoint with anybody that's doing this, but I think it's a great idea. I think there's a lot of potential there for fun.
It is not cost effective. So
No.
we will not be going to
Oh, would you stop it? Would you stop it?
It is a ridiculous waste of money.
The tickets will be $180 a piece, but we'll be there.
Yes, 2025. Yes, you can look out for us at PaizoCon UK.
Do you realize how much? It doesn't cost that much to fly to London.
No, of course I would love to do a show out there. I mean, we're going to hit every major city in the U.S. before we hit there, I'm sure.
Oh, would you stop?
I'm sorry. I'm being honest with them, Joe. They tune in for the honesty.
Oh, they do. They do. That is true. Oh,
yes.
man, another question from Bo Bakewell 15. When are you coming to visit the UK? That's a great question. You know what? Maybe it's not a whole live show. Maybe we just send Skid to cause a bunch of trouble.
Right, or just
in
like
the UK.
male Skid shorts. Even that would cost too much money. Here's Skid shorts. Can you guys have your live shows play a rerun 12 hours later? Well, El Chialde, if you subscribe to us on Twitch, you can see them immediately right afterwards. Otherwise, like we did the other night, that's going to be on YouTube on Monday. When it comes to the live show that we're going to do in LA or the live show we're going to do after that in fill in the blank city, our goal is to stream those or record those in some way. We just don't know how it's going to work yet. We don't know what the nuts and bolts of that is going to be, but our plan is to have that stuff, accessible in some way. Is it always going to be available for audio? No. Is some things only going to be available for video? Yep. Are some things only going to be available for audio? Yes. Are there some things that the only way you can consume it is to be there live? Probably. Mm-hmm. Probably. So you should just always travel to any show that we're doing to be safe.
To be safe.
If you want to be safe, you should just travel around the world with us.
The Suspicious Bulge asks, this is a great question. Now, I want everybody that's watching to I'm assuming that everybody here is caught up through episode 70. So if you're not, mute us for a second here. The Suspicious Bulge asks a very interesting question.
Be careful.
Leaving Trunau after conquering Red Lake Fort was one of the party's goals to find someone capable of healing Galabras. Mm-hmm. With this in mind, two-part question. One, Joe, did you build a shaman with the idea of eventually getting greater restoration and healing Galabras? And Troy, does Feeble Mind on Galabras work per the rulebook in your world, or is it more story-driven? It seems at this point the party should be able to purchase healing for Galabras if you were to let that be a goal. I think it's a great question. I think no, I did not think about that when building Forebears. I'm really focusing on Forebears' story. I in terms of party makeup, I mean that factored into it in terms of class, but when I started making Forebears, I was not thinking about, from a character perspective, how he would support any other character. I was more so thinking about creating a new, telling a new story of a Shoanti moving through this world in a land that might be taken over by their age-old enemy of giants. So that was really my focus on that. That's the simple answer to that question. Troy, Feeble Mind, is that more story-driven at this point, do you think, or is it something that you're just doing mechanically?
All I'll say is, like, if and when Galabras dies, you'll know it. That's all I can say about that.
Oh. So he's just going to die, you're saying?
Probably, yes.
You are so vicious.
The Last Rogue asks, what is Gavrik's heart up to? I don't know. But I don't think he's all that he puts himself out as.
Wait, Lone Paul 80 asks, any plans to have Cannon Fodder on Stitcher? Isn't Cannon Fodder on Stitcher?
I don't know. Like the way it works, you put it on iTunes, and then everybody else just picks it up.
Oh,
yeah, that's basically.
That sounds
how it works.
incorrect.
I don't know. Just use iTunes.
No, see, you can't answer people with that. People don't have Apple
I don't know.
products.
Man, but the problem is these other apps suck. That the people are like, hey, when's it going to hit Google Tunes? It's not on Google Tunes because Google Tunes sucks. Like we put the feed out there, and they're just supposed to pull the feed in. Sometimes they just don't pull the feed in because they're shitty.
You have to
iTunes gets it right.
Oh man, you're gonna have a lot of haters on that. Apple gets it right every time, huh, Troy?
Well,
they're the best company,
except
right,
the fact
Troy?
that I can no longer charge my phone because this thing went out after 6 months of use. So they don't get everything right.
Yeah, they don't quite get everything right. I made a mistake here on my screen, and I got rid of everything that has been said before 30 seconds ago. So feel free to repeat questions.
That's impossible. I can see everything. Troy, with your ties to Boston, this is from Spaduba. Ties to Boston, and y'all being so close, do you foresee Boston as being a likely stop for GCP Live? Totally. Yeah, we're already talking about that. If we can coordinate a way to be out there during PAX East, maybe not even at PAX East, but at a place nearby during that weekend, totally. I mean, Skid and I went last year and just did a little meetup, and there were like 60 people that showed to the meetup. If we were doing a live show out there, I'm sure we could pack the place. So, yeah, stay tuned. Boston is a no-brainer.
I also love going to Boston.
Yeah.
I love that city. It's just great and fun city to travel to and catch a game. You definitely do it during the regular season. See a little Fenway. It's just awesome.
We've lucked out when usually PAX starts on like the first week of Red Sox. Yeah, like if they have a home series, it's usually right around the time. When it happens last week of March, not so much, but we will wait a week just to make sure the Sox are in time.
Spaduba asks, is there any way that a Twitch subscription can also go towards my Patreon subscription? I would love to donate to both, but if they can compound it, it would apply a lot more incentive to purchase both. Well, let me tell you something, Spaduba. We've actually talked to Patreon about this. So Patreon is working on this, not for us, but they know it's a suggestion that we have. Patreon we're closer to Patreon than we've ever been. They talk to us a lot now because you guys have been so supportive on there and have had our back for such a long period of time. They know we have a loyal fan base, and they know that we're doing something right. So they talk to us a lot, and we can offer a lot of suggestions. And they're still very much in a growth phase, and they are growing fast. And right now, they are reaching out to partners, and they're trying to partner with other major companies. One of which was Streamlabs, right? So they don't have everything worked out with Twitch yet, but they have some little thing worked out with Streamlabs, so you can get like an alert on your Twitch when somebody pledges. The point is that they're aware that this would be a good idea, and they're working on it. But man, I mean, pay grade's not exactly the right term, but man, is that way out of our league. That's not something that once they have the ability to connect them, we would connect them. We would find a way to connect them.
Yeah.
But they know it's a concern for us. They also know that there's a lot of gamers on Patreon. So it's a crossover that is going to be beneficial to them, and they're definitely going to be working on it. So good question, and just know that it's in their mind. Yeah. But they also have, they're trying to make partners with a lot of global companies right now, and it's a big it's a long process. It doesn't happen overnight.
They're connected to Discord. You know that? Like there are some people, their Patreon rewards are like a private Discord channel. And things like
I
that.
didn't realize.
So
actually, I did. Yeah, I did realize.
I'm
I
sure
don't know how
it's
it works, though.
Only a matter of time. And like we are very lucky now because, like Joe said, we do have their ear in a way that we never thought possible. So we can, we're definitely, we've already brought that up to them.
Hey, Dungeon Admin 1 gifted a tier 1 sub to Dice Knight 16.
Thank
you so much, Dungeon Admin 1. What a funny name for Twitch. That's so great. Dungeon Admin 1.
Giovanni says Podcast Addict doesn't suck. I bet it does, Giovanni.
Lone Paul 80 says the guys from Stitcher say that Troy can expect flat tires before week's end.
Balrog of Boston says Pocket Cast is pretty good. Nope.
Wow.
Just shitting on other apps.
Shitting on other apps for no reason.
Dip. What else we got here? Great job, Joe. We can skip that.
Dungeon Novice wants to know if there's any chance at seeing Howie in Doomsday Dawn.
I like having every show be its own universe. That's my jam.
That is your jam.
Yeah. Sorry, I don't even like when jokes carry over from show to show because there's some people that might just listen to Androids and Aliens. So if somebody makes a joke that's like a recurring joke from another show, I usually edit it out because it's just I don't want somebody to feel left out of an inside joke.
Roroa 341, Roroa, if I'm pronouncing that right, is from Chile. Or Chile in South America, and has been wanting to play Pathfinder since I started listening to the GCP, but here in Chile there are no Paizo products, so I'm stuck with 5e. Okay. Aside from the language barrier, how would you address this problem? Should I adapt the system to Pathfinder or run an AP with 5e rules? Do you have any ideas?
Don't do that. That's foolish.
No, I think those are both great.
No.
Ideas.
Can't you get the PDFs?
She's saying the translation.
The translation.
Yeah.
Well, you're fluent.
I'll write them.
Yes.
I'll write them. Add that to the list.
That's tough.
We're going to delay Emerald Spire for 2 years.
While you work on your...
No, I think that... that's a great question.
That's tough.
Let me put the question to you another way.
Okay.
Is it better to try to convert 5e mechanics to Pathfinder mechanics, or is it better when you don't even have a Pathfinder rulebook?
Right.
Or is it better to run a translated AP and use 5e mechanics to run it? Because you love Pathfinder.
I do.
You also love the APs.
I do. This talk about a Sophie's choice.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Oh, I think you have to move to the States.
Troy is always very good for an option C. Whenever I'm like, we could do this or we could do
Sorry.
this. He's like, well, why don't we just don't do anything? Oh, yeah. Yeah, I guess we could. We could just not do anything.
That's my option. For a real option, Joe, you could tell them what you think.
I think you can convert 5e to Pathfinder rules. Now, I think that on a grand scale, you're talking about what? Now, I'm going to use 2e terms here, but you talk about downtime. Talk about crafting. Talk about advanced mechanics here. I mean, I would just say wing that kind of stuff. But in combat, I think that using the 5e rules and their terms and the ability scores and all that kind of thing, I think that you might be able to do it. I don't. Even as I'm saying that, I think that might be impossible, because if they're allowing you to spend ability points in builds in different ways, if their modifiers don't work the same way, it's going to throw the whole system off. I mean, write to Paizo, by the way. Consistently write to Paizo about this, because they respond, and they have a big international presence. Nowhere near as big as D&D, but they want
They're going to say nowhere near as big as us, but
they're trying. But they want to get out there. I mean, they want to get to these other distribute in these other countries. But it also doesn't have to do with Paizo wanting to do it. A lot of times it has to do with licensing laws and international. Tariffs. I don't know. Does Congress sit around and they're like, we can't allow any more Pathfinder products into Chile? No, I think that you let them know, though, seriously, because they're very responsive to their fan base, and if you want something to come there and they hear enough people wanting that, they're going to go out of their way to try to make that happen. So that's an option too. But otherwise, geez, I mean, I guess you just have to play 5e, right, Troy?
like I say, even though I mock other game systems relentlessly, you're better off playing than not playing. So
Yes.
do what you got to do. We want people playing because we want you to have as much fun as we're having.
In that case, I think the easiest answer is adapt an AP to 5e. You might have to do a little work with the monster stat blocks and stuff like that, but for the most part, just feel it out as you go. I mean, we've talked about this on Cannon Fodder before. I adapted an entire level of Dark Souls to Pathfinder.
Yeah.
I just took the monsters and I imagined what the percentage chances were of them hitting, or how long it would take an ability to recharge, 1d4 rounds, or you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of mechanics that are very intuitive, and you can apply it to a totally different setting. And in this case, you can apply 5e mechanics to Pathfinder. I'm sure you'll be fine.
Yeah, and regardless, like some people, if you like 5e, you like Pathfinder, everyone has their own opinions on that. A lot of people believe that the APs are what make Paizo so special. So I would do what Joe says. Pedronian says, hey, Troy, or not hey, Troy. I just threw that in there. Hey, Troy, you look handsome today. Oh, thank you, Pedronian.
That's not a question, Pedro. By the way, what's up, buddy? You are the man.
Good buddy, Pedronian.
Good to have you here.
Any chance you would consider using fan graphic designs on your hats and shirts to expand your selection? Believe it or not, now I pretty frequently, when I see fan art either on Instagram or people just tweeting at us or sending it on Facebook, I've reached out to a number of people that I have hired now to do some work for us. You're going to see some art coming out very soon with some new characters that someone we found on social media. Also, an Instagram guy we found. Some merch coming out pretty soon. So
I can tell you, I'm the contracts guy. So I've been sending out contracts to listeners that have made some stuff.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, it's definitely possible.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I probably say no to 99 things for every one thing that I say yes to. So
I'm sorry. Did you say probably?
I say no to 99 things and yes to one, but there's still a 1% chance.
There's definitely not a 1% chance. Slightly lower than that, but keep trying.
Keep trying.
That's what'll keep.
Don't take it hard if you don't hear back from us.
Keep trying. Do you ever? Who is this? Debrick Wookie asks, do you ever play longer sessions and do the see you next week halfway through the session so you can release in 2 episodes?
No.
Never once.
Nope. We have had days that we have recorded. See you next week, and we stop, and we come back after a break of like hours. Like when we went to Skid's retreat house. We did that because we had 24 hours to do it. But for the most part, no. We don't record 1 episode a week, but it takes away from the sort of excitement if we were to do multiple episodes.
Agreed. So, oh no, I mean, we already answered this. Gentlemen, Mint, any thoughts of doing crossover episodes, granted the timelines of APs match up, etc.? Troy doesn't really, he's not into that. He's on the mix. I mean, we have done it in our APs outside of the show. We've just kind of had things from other worlds transfer over. I think it's a really fun thing to do. I don't think you have any plans of doing it on the show, though.
No.
Certainly not.
Gentleman Mint says, do either of you have a favorite, a true favorite class to play?
I'm going to kick back on this one. I mean, I could sit here. I'm going to shut my iPad.
There we go.
And talk for the next hour
Please
about
don't.
classes in Pathfinder.
I want to go see my son.
The short answer is no. I can't. I just can't. There are too many. There are too many options. But to put it as simply as possible and give you an answer, I will say that my favorite class from a base class standpoint to play, my favorite style of play is Rogue. That's my favorite style of play. I love sneaking. I love being the first into a place. And I love dealing damage that is precision damage. I like dealing damage in situations that I can create. I enjoy rogues. Now, that's not to say that there aren't things about rangers that I love so much that mechanically speaking, I want to play them more than rogues, etc. But usually I lean on roguish mechanics in rangers. And even in fighters, sometimes I'll be like, oh, if I want to build a fighter, I don't necessarily build a huge sword and board. I usually end up being like, two weapon fighting, and then use my feats to be quicker and lighter and wear lighter armor, and or get the bonuses from being a fighter to have less penalties with heavier armor, because I always want to be quicker. I want to move faster. I don't like being slow and lumbering and heavy, which is the only reason Sir Will ever came out and was able to be played by me, was because he could be mounted and can move quickly and be small enough to have bonuses to AC and stuff like that, which are always really important to me.
Inquisitor.
Easy answer. I wasn't ready to look one up. That's why you got to talk more, man.
Well, I'll tell you, I just enjoy a class that combines melee or ranged and magic. And to me, of all that I've played so far, that does it the best. I also think my favorite class I haven't played yet. I haven't played them all. I've played probably versions of them while GMing. I've played, evil rogues or evil summoners or something like that. I've never played a summoner, bad example. But I think that I'm really interested in playing a paladin. I think I'd really get a kick out of a paladin. But it takes
wizard,
a while.
you played not an evil aligned wizard, but a wizard that of dubious sort of moral standing.
Yeah.
In our old PFS games.
Wizard is another class I'll probably come back to. I think it might be the best class. I think it's the hardest to play, and it's a class that you really got to have patience with, because early on you're just shooting your crossbow and throwing acid darts. But I really would like to get into a high level play wizard, and I've never got there. But again, I don't think I've quite played enough classes to give a good answer.
I had so much fun in Doomsday Dawn playing a rogue. I mean, that was so fun.
That's your favorite class.
It is. It's my favorite class. It's my favorite class.
What are you going to be in the next Doomsday Dawn adventure? Because it's brand new characters.
It is brand new characters. I can tell you I'm leaning towards Ranger because I love Ranger, and I obviously played one for a long time on the GCP. I want to see 2E mechanics for Ranger. I want to see what that looks like, what the options are. I haven't even cracked the book on that class yet, because we only had so much time to prep for Friday, and I just focused on that class and then focused on general game mechanics. I never even looked at a page of Ranger, so I'm excited to open that up and see that sweet black and white sketching of Harsk. It's like, so awesome.
I'm excited to prep for a possibly 10-hour live stream. This week has been so brutal with recording. Tomorrow, I have to wake up and edit episode 170. Tuesday, I have to wake up and edit Starfinder episode 21. Wednesday, I have to wake up and edit Ruins of Aslan 19.
And then Thursday we record.
Oh,
man. Tough week.
I like when
The
people say,
old-
when do you guys think you can do this full time? I am doing it full time. I'm just not getting money.
You have that pleasure. You have that pleasure. Dr. Pat asks, I am running Rise of the Rune Lords. My crew is getting ready to head to Magnamar. It's a huge city. How do you organize what the most important things are to prep for that city? Troy and I have utterly no experience in Magnamar. You have just sort of scratched the surface with Doomsday
I went
Dawn.
there with my parents when I was a kid.
I haven't been back since.
I don't remember it.
Honestly, I think that I want to just point that out because I think that's a great question. We don't know the mechanics of that city exactly. I think city prep in general, I love. Here's a little trick I used. Get your players, right? And I guess all your players are not from Magnamar. One thing that I think is not a bad idea is like get a gazetteer of Magnamar, right? Because I'm sure that they publish those, and then print it out, and then split out certain sections and give it to your players to share the prep. Because if it's just like the pharmacy, like the alchemist and the healing hospital and whatever, like you can, as long as it's spoiler free to a certain extent, you can share the load on that. And you can go to a certain area of town and say, okay, so what's in this part of town? And a player can know. In some cases, it gives the player some impetus to drive the story in that direction because they're like, I want to go talk to this blah, 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 because it seems like a cool thing that would open up the story. I don't consider those to be spoilers, especially if you are overtaxed as a GM and you think that the players are going to have a worse experience because you had no time to prep the 40-odd locations they have in the Magnamar Gazetteer. I think you can split that work out as long as you think it's not going to give away anything too important. Otherwise, ask that question again when we have Skid on Cannon Fodder, which should hopefully be soon. You saw on Friday night what we did with the cameras. We still have more work to do there, but we're going to start having people on Cannon Fodder here soon. And we just wanted to get the camera situation right. And then you can repeat that question then, and he might have a little bit more on it.
Ajax Mailman, any chance of Dark Souls Ralph returning to the Twitch?
Ooh.
How fun would that be? Joe and I joke about like if we were ever actually doing this full time here, 9 to 5 or 12 to 8, whatever it would be, like we would
12
have
to 3.
12 to 3, maybe take a quick lunch, call it a day. We would have to do more twitching, and the first thing I'd like to do is recreate Ralph in Dark Souls 1 and go through that. I've never had more fun.
Come in. Water cooler. Just talk about what we watched last night.
Right. Oh, what are you watching,
Yep.
Joe? Yep.
9:45. Get settled in. 10 a.m.
Open fan
Go
mail.
live. 10 a.m. Go live with a Twitch with Ralph.
Right.
The two of us.
I never had more fun than you would just come over. This was before you had Gwen.
The good old
You
days.
would just come over and we would just Twitch, and I played through the whole game to get Platinum Trophy. And eventually you had Gwen during that run and dropped out, but you and Skid came over for the final episode. Oh, those were the days.
Those were the days. Kelrark. Not sure how to pronounce your name. I'm sorry, but a great question. Any plans on expanding your bottle cap offerings? Patreon exclusive caps for sale on the website, live exclusive caps, etc. I want to grow the cap trading game. Well, you're speaking my language. That is something that's been important to me for a long time, and I can tell you right now, another little announcement. We're going to have fresh new caps at the live LA show that nobody has seen yet. So
Fresh caps!
Good question. Well timed. I hadn't thought about announcing it, but yep, it is something that I am working on. And I do want to expand that market. It is something that I'm very interested in getting into because I want to see more of that cap trading. And we're going to have all new caps live in LA. We will have exclusive caps in LA too, but they won't all be exclusive. You're just going to be the first ones to see some new designs that are hitting the shelves, and then hopefully one day we will have them on the merch store. But for right now, we do want that to be something that is a special thank you to our patrons at the $15 tier, because that is extremely generous, and it is not something that we look at lightly, and we want to have that be something that is special for them. So we're keeping that there for right now. But we did sell them at GCP Live in New York, our overstock of Season 1 caps, and people loved it. They were buying them and trading them and looking at what they got, like, crap, I already have these. I'll buy another one. So it was nice. It was
Trading
really
away
fun.
all their lorks.
Yes, exactly.
Anybody want this garbage?
No, it has no value on the market.
This is interesting because I've heard this before. Blissful212 says there have been some conspiracy theories on the subs about roles being faked because it sounds like the reactions are forced or things just worked out too perfectly. Would you happen to have a response to that? We heard somebody say this before. A couple people, right?
Did we?
Was it at
Well, I'm not
at
as
GCP Live?
I'm just not as up on the social media.
No,
as
but
you
someone
are.
said this to us, to our face. I
In
think.
person.
Yeah, or they were talking about the people on the Discord are saying that. I mean, nothing could be further from the truth. I mean, you know how my style is, and I would never let them pull that shit. So no,
and we all. I mean, we're in such tight quarters. We're always rolling in front of each other. I mean, the idea that we're like, all right, stop. All right, I'm going to roll this. Let's pretend it was natural 20. Everybody will go nuts. And I mean, I am telling you, if you are pointing out a specific example, it's episode 19 of Androids and Aliens. And that is real. Like, as real gets.
Oh, yeah.
I rolled a natural 20, saying that was the only thing I could roll to hit, and I rolled it. Then on exploding dice, I rolled a D10, and it was a 0. It was incredible.
Yeah.
It was an incredible moment. And yeah, for the most part, no, we don't do it.
For the most part, 100% we don't.
No, 100%, yeah, no, 100% we don't. Yeah. What I'm saying is we don't always have that kind of excitement, and sometimes you will see it, there are times also when why would we have that many crap rolls, like crap
Right.
rolls over and over and over again? It drains the energy, it kills the action, but we play it that way. We keep it going.
I think the reason some people may think that is because we get so fired up when the rolls happen to hit the perfect moment. We react like we're watching Game 7 of the World Series. And so I can see if you're just listening to that audio, it might sound forced, but nothing could be further from the truth. And if you've been to live shows, I think, let's say we've had 5 live shows. 4 of them, you rolled a natural 1 on your first roll?
Yep.
Like, you can't write it.
You can't write it.
Just that terrible.
People crack up and they love it. They go nuts. And then we also have those spectacular rolls. I mean, the live show, which was never seen, never heard, the live show at Gen Con,
at Gen
with
Con.
Eric Mona, the final roll was for an incredible thing against you as GM. It was the final roll of the game,
And I rolled my will
and
save.
you rolled a natural 1.
Natural 1.
And a natural 2. And it would just, the place went ballistic. I mean, and our energy feeds into everybody else, and everybody else feeds back into us, and we have just gotten used to being a little bit more showy with what we do.
Yeah.
And so sometimes it's a little much. Sometimes I listen back and I'm like, you really kind of overdid it that time. But that's because we're putting on a show. It's not because we're faking die rolls.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, that's interesting. Now that you have a camera studio, would you consider having live games with cameras for the dice rolls, like World Series of Poker showing the cards? Says Sariak Subsigil. Wouldn't that be cool? Like, you see your the cards in your hand, you just put it up to a mirror, like a camera, so you see. And the fans know that I rolled a natural 20. And I'd be like, okay, what'd you get? Natty 20. And everybody, meanwhile, the chat's going crazy. That would be fun. I think that'd be very, very hard to pull off.
I've seen that on some streams where that's right over the dice tray.
The dice cam.
Yeah, there's a dice cam on each character. They roll it in there and see what they get. Oh, we got a little For the Rose and the Light going. For the Rose and the Light. I love it. It's been a long time.
I give it thumbs down. Hey, we had over 200 people there on this.
Get out of
That's
here.
a Cannon Fodder record.
I wasn't even looking at the numbers. I was just focusing on the questions.
Look at the numbers. I think that's everything. No. Fallout. Yeah, and the new Fallout. That'd be a great Twitch when that comes out. GCP Gate, says Gentleman Mint.
Gentleman Mint says Joe should try Swashbuckler if he hasn't. I've thought about it. It's just hard for me to wrap my head around. I just don't like it that it's called Swashbuckler.
Talk about a class that I have no interest in.
Yeah, well, I mean, I have interest in the way Panache works and the way that certain elements of it are built, like Fighter and Rogue, kind of. But I just like the way they named it to me. It conjures up these, and the way they name some of the things, it's like you can only play it on a boat. So
Right. I think it needs a new name.
I think that's what it is.
And that's not. I mean, you could just say I'm a this, I'm a that, but
I mean, obviously they've thought a lot about this before they named and released.
What
the
else
class.
would you name it?
Yeah, I don't know. Like
Panache guy. That sounds fun. That sounds fun.
That sounds fun.
That sounds fun. Like, I'm a panache guy. I'm a 3rd level panache guy. I like that better than Swashbuckler.
Dungeon Admin 1 asks the new characters in the playtest ? What are the chances of rotating a rotating GM chair
For the playtest?
Yeah,
Not going to happen.
Not going to happen. But it was on the table.
It was on the table.
There was a moment where maybe in June-ish. Late May, early June, there was a moment when there was going to be, I was going to GM one and Skid was going to GM one, and but then eventually Troy ended up deciding that it would it would be good to have a consistent sort of feel and vibe to the way the game is run.
Yeah.
And so we're going with one GM.
And it really is because I like GMing. I like kind of being in control.
I know you do.
Running things. It just makes sense for me. That doesn't mean like as we continue to grow the video network that I'm going to be the only one sitting in that chair. Not at all. But for Doomsday Dawn, I'm actually glad I made this decision beyond just for superficial reasons, because you would know the whole story if you were running it. Like the way, even though the characters don't always come back, it's a very consistent storyline. I think it would have ruined it to have rotating jams.
So Dungeon Admin 1 asked that question, if I'm not mistaken, and he gifted a sub to Dice Knight 16 just a little bit ago. A tier 1 sub to Dice Knight 16,
nice.
which we had mentioned. And then Dice Knight writes in, he says, I have been with you guys from the start of your podcast. I have never involved myself with the community before now.
And I never will again.
And I never will again after seeing this garbage. After hearing these garbage questions. No, I wish to thank you all for creating all of this fantastic content for us. Can you even grasp what kind of impact you are doing in some of our lives? Thank you. Thank you.
That's really sweet.
Thank you. That's a really nice question. And yes, we can grasp it. We know everything about it. No. That is a really, really nice comment and a great question. It is astounding to us day in and day out, and has been for 3 years. I mean, we started this within the first 2 or 3 months. People were coming to us and telling us we were doing something that really spoke to them. And then, within a year, there were people that were coming to us and just saying such meaningful things that really hit home for us about how the show has been just exactly what they needed at the right time, or exactly the kind of thing to bring their friends together, or exactly the kind of thing to get them back in the hobby when they had given it up for a long time. And man, if that was not the juice to keep us going for such a long time, and still is. I mean, it still gets us here. It still gets you editing an episode every day of the week, and then recording another day after. And make no mistake, I don't like wine fests, but editing an episode is not all pomp and circumstance.
Chutes and ladders.
Yeah, it is. It's a pain in the butt, and it's a lot of work, and it's a lot of detail, and we put that time in specifically because of that. So thank you so much for bringing it up. I really appreciate it.
And that's just the tip of the iceberg. The amount of messages we get from people who are going through like horrific things in their life, who enjoy getting to not think about that for a second, just listen to our shows. I mean, that alone keeps us coming back week after week, when sometimes we just don't feel like doing it. We're exhausted. But like we have to. There's just no way around it.
I mean, that's how I feel.
Right.
We have to.
I don't care about Joe.
Right.
But it's about these people who, we mean a lot to. And that's why we want to foster this community where it's more than just like putting on shows. It's about like hanging out afterwards. I want to put faces with names. I want to know who all these people are. When I see Vicky Games, I've hung out with Vicky 20 times.
Right.
I like that. I like that we get to know you guys on a personal level. As we continue to grow, that might not be feasible, but I think we'll do everything we can, no matter how big we grow, to always be as accessible as possible.
So, Troy, I'm going to throw this out to you. Disclaimer.
Throw it out.
I really am not interested in a smart-ass answer right out of the gate. I want you to think about it like a real question. I want you to give a real answer.
All right.
Okay?
We're over 200 people.
This one's from Nutbomb.
You want me to give a serious answer to someone called Nutbomb?
My friend Nutbomb.
Go on.
I already like this guy. Or girl. Great name. At the Glass Cannon. Hey, Troy, is there something you wish the players kept better track of, or that you kept better track of? Stop it. Take that first thought, throw it out the window. Start with a new thought.
I'm biting the Invisalign right out of my mouth.
Think of an actual answer. What are things that you wish were better kept track of in this game, or for you as a GM, or that you wish we kept better track of? Besides, like, the rules of the game.
Right. That'd be a great start.
Right.
Um,
What happened in the last episode?
little things like that. For example, would be a good start. It's so hard not to give a smart-ass answer to this.
I know.
I think you guys do a very good job of coming prepared for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
You don't always remember exactly what happened the previous week. I guess if I had to give you one critique of things I'd like you to do better with, what's the specific question? Because I don't want to go off on a tangent.
No, is there something you wish the players kept better track of, or that you wish you kept better track of?
I think this is just like a mechanical thing, but a lot of times when someone casts a spell that does a minus to someone's AC, or a minus to reflex saves, or a minus to this, like, I've got so much going on back here. Lately, I've just been like, keep me honest on that. Because if you forget to remind me that I got a -2 to my attack, if I've already moved on and hit you, it just counts as a hit.
So you want the players to keep track of the conditions they put your monsters under.
Yep.
Yeah.
That to me, that is like
Would be a huge help.
Yeah, and that's like bare minimum of I think players should be doing that. I've seen at when playing in PFSs at conventions, a lot of times somebody like I cast Bless on the group, and they hand little sheets to everybody so everyone remembers that they have Bless on them. I think a similar thing should be done with the GM. Now, I don't need 50 papers back here, but just like all right, when I say all right, now I'm going to go to attack you, for Matthew to be like, don't forget it's a -2, and he gets a +2 to his AC. Great. If you don't say that, I'm at a point now, because I've got so much going on, you don't get it. You don't get the bonus. You lose out on it.
Okay. Fair enough.
That's what I say.
Fair enough.
I'm asking for so little, Joe. So little.
Well, I will say I wish we kept better track of loot. I think that's hard to do when we're playing live, and we have a lot going on, and we don't track that as well as we should. So I wish we did that a little bit better. Otherwise, oh man, I had one and I lost it. We can move on to the next question, but I'm going to keep thinking about it, because there's something that I think that as a game in general that we don't keep very good track of. Oh, what is it?
There's so much you do bad.
There's so much we do poorly.
Yeah.
In terms of tracking, but oh man, that is a really good question though, because I think every game has their little foibles.
Yeah.
You know, the things that they don't do quite as well. I'm going to keep thinking about it, and we'll come back to it.
K. Rob asks, I just want to ask about the question I had last pod when my group messed up the death and dying rules in Starfinder. You answered the question as if I died when I should have lived. It keeps updating the chat here. The exact opposite happened. Does that change your answer? So he lived instead of died. I'm of a mind that, like, once the session is wrapped or you've moved on, there is what I say before, it's the same thing, a statute of limitations.
Yeah.
You moved on. Like, this happened in Ruins of Aslan, and we got a lot of shit for it. Be like, you need to redo it. No, that's what happened.
When the session is
happened in the
over,
game.
that's what happened.
Yeah.
That's what happened. I mean, I think I even cited Owen Casey Stevens then, too. He joined us at PaizoCon. We asked him this question in an interview. I mean, you want to talk about a guy that has a ton of game design experience, has written a ton for Paizo, has written in and played in games for hundreds of years. No, just maybe a few decades, but still lots and lots of experience. He was like, the problem with trying to change it is that the first thing is already in your memory, and you're never going to get rid of that. As much time as you try to go back to it and say that it's different, your gut, your instinct, your memory is going to see that moment only the first way it happened. And you're going to keep forgetting. You're going to keep forgetting that so-and-so wasn't supposed to do this or wasn't supposed to do that, you know? If you, assuming you don't fix it right at the moment.
Yeah.
If you fix it right at the moment, sure.
Sure.
You know, you see somebody's head get chopped off and they die. And then it's like, oh, no, that could never happen. For this reason, blah, blah, blah. Okay, well, it didn't happen. Fine. But if you finish a game session, go home, a month later, you play another game, you're like, I was looking at this after what? That has had a month to sink in. It's done.
It's done.
You're alive. Enjoy your life.
Live, damn it. Live like there's no tomorrow. Yeah, I think we're rounding the end here. We got 200 people.
Oh my god, yeah, it's already we're already getting close to wrapping up.
We're running out of the questiones.
I'm trying to not spoil anything. I'm seeing some Doomsday Dawn light spoilers in here. Speaking of conspiracy theories, the Pickles Lover asks.
The Pickles Lover asks,
do you have a favorite fan conspiracy theory?
Where would I find that? Like on the subreddit?
Yeah, like on the subreddit. So I feel like I've seen some in the past.
I'm of mine. Like if I see a conspiracy, I'll never do it. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, if
I'm sure that what they're guessing is things that you already have in mind.
Yeah. I'm trying to think.
I wonder if there were any that were like, you know, proven to be false, right? I can't remember it because we're going back a long way. But there's a lot of great ones. I will say that. There are a lot of really awesome theories. But here's the other thing. I think there's a lot of conspiracy theories out there that are being missed. I think people are missing a lot of things.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of small details. Make no mistake. There's a lot of things that I say, that Grant says, that Skid says. Matthew, too. I mean, I can't even say it. I don't want to say it because I have my own conspiracy theory about one of Matthew's characters, which I'm not going to bring up here because I don't want to give anything away. I don't want to blow up his spot. But we all have deep character backstories that we know a lot about, and we hint to on occasion and don't talk about because we want people to start picking up on these little clues. So I'm not saying go back, but I'm saying going forward, like pay attention to what people say, because usually it's not just coming out of nowhere. There are hints in there about what's really going on with some of these characters.
Always the cleric says Pembroke as Brander was one of my favorite conspiracy theories, and Buddha Day agreed.
Oh, that's a great one.
That's a great
That's
one,
a
yeah.
perfect example. Thank you for answering that for us. That is a perfect
Thank
example.
You can take my job.
What's this? Heavy metal.
Howie is the chosen one, says Just the Bard.
Joe, I have a clip of you rolling a 1 on your first combat roll for the Twitch stream. Am I able to post the clip? Yes, 100%. You can post my misery internet-wide and let everyone share.
JZ1127 says, you're at the point you can hire someone, some help to edit episodes. Yes or no? The point is we can't really have someone else do it. It's a control thing and part of a... Tell me what the word is I'm looking for.
It's certainly not a control thing.
It's not control.
You are a control freak,
Yes.
and there is a lot about control that you have issues with.
Yes.
One of them is
Yes.
not editing, because editing is like you can't have someone else edit the Glass Cannon podcast that isn't us. It's not possible. Like unless it was literally one of you guys that has been listening from the beginning, is a professional editor, and like, I mean, has to have multiple meetings with us until a point where like we know you completely get every nuance of each of us and the show. Could you possibly edit an episode? Like editing is, I mean, it's like the epitome of telling the story.
Yeah.
So it's so sensitive because you're deciding what jokes get in and what gets cut out.
Jokes.
You know, deciding what moments of the story stay in or get cut out. I mean, it's so... You can't leave it in the hands of somebody just because they're a good editor. You know what I mean? They have to know the whole feel and nuance of our show.
Yeah, the Horseboy says, "Is everyone edit? It's just Joe and I edit the shows, and like I won't even let the other guys edit. It's just a matter of like, if I had someone else editing it, I'd be spending as much time just going over the episodes, and like where I don't re-listen to the episodes, I don't listen to the shows anymore that I don't edit because there's just too many shows. So I haven't listened to the podcast that I haven't edited in probably about 6 or 7 months, but like we talk about it. You know, when I know Joe's editing episode, I just immediately after the episode, I'm like, cut this, cut this, cut this, make sure that you blah, blah, blah this. And we just have a shorthand with each other that works. If I was having someone else do it, I would spend just as amount of time going over them, how to edit it. I might as well just edit it myself.
Right. And how about the amount of times that you and I, behind the scenes, have had serious debates and arguments over an edit.
Yeah.
Over what gets in and what gets out. Because we haven't seen eye to eye sometimes, and there's a lot of push and shove in that area. Mm-hmm. It's a highly sensitive, creative aspect of the show that has to be managed very carefully.
Yeah, it's not just labor. Like let's just add that labor cost in. It's like you said, it's sensitive.
Right. It would be like having. Can you pay someone to occasionally GM the show? Right, you know, to me, it's no different. Mm-hmm. It has that sort of level of complexity. Would you consider multi-class for higher level play in the playtest? Vicky Games asks. Vicky, always with the good questions in terms of the complicated mechanics of Pathfinder. I'm sure you're exploring all of these things. I'm not sure if we're going to. I think I will probably, because that section is great. I like getting into that section of how multi-classing works. I think is really interesting. What is it called? Just tell me on the chat, Vicky. I can't remember. It's called there's a name for like the feat that you have to take. That's the first step into what is now the new version of multi-classing.
Oh, I didn't know this.
Yeah, it's like a feat that you take that gives you, it's like focus, I think. It's like fighter focus or it's something like that. And then it opens up the ability to take feats in that other class.
Oh, I haven't read anything about character creation. I'm just reading like the other stuff.
Yeah. There's dedication. That's
dedication.
It. Spy word said it. Dedication.
Fighter dedication. That's
right.
cool.
So you take a dedication. You can take wizard dedication.
That's
you could be a
cool.
fighter at 5th level. But you have to have a certain amount of ranks in one particular skill, or you have to not ranks. You have to be like an expert in a certain skill in order to be able to take it. So I'm sure as like a fighter, you have to have a certain intelligence and a certain amount in whatever to be able to take wizard dedication. It's really a neat concept, and I think I would try it out. But, I'm not guaranteeing anything. But I think that I would.
Not making any promises.
Maybe not making any promises.
Joe, we're gonna wrap this stream up in the next couple minutes.
Okay.
Because it's time.
It's time to
wrap
go,
it up.
but I'm having so much fun.
The questions are thinning out. It's time. So get these last questions in because in 5 minutes we're calling it.
Sarlaxo Sigil. Yeah, let's get them in quick. Sarlaxo Sigil asks, I was impressed with how smoothly the Doomsday Dawn Twitch went. Since you obviously couldn't edit it, is that quality also reflective of how podcasts normally go? As it was it heavy prep or just good luck? No, that is 100% the way podcasts go. Mm-hmm. So don't get me wrong. There are edits that are a breeze. Like we have edits sometimes that are very easy.
Role-playing apps.
Yeah, role-playing apps are usually very easy. It's usually when you get into, I was telling Troy not that long ago that I was reliving editing episode 10 of Androids and Aliens, the Starship Combat episode. Was brutal. It was probably 6 to 8 hours of work to edit that episode because we were looking at rules so much while we were playing it. The Doomsday Dawn, I think, went incredibly smoothly, but things that were in there would have been edited out. But we were also making a show of covering each other. Mm-hmm. So when somebody didn't know what their initiative was or was looking up a rule, somebody else was like, talking about the beer they were drinking or interacting in a different way. That doesn't need to happen on the podcast, so that stuff usually gets cut out. Mm-hmm. But generally speaking, I mean, that's kind of how our game sessions go. Yeah. We were playing it up a little bit for the live audience, but that's pretty close.
Yeah, and it has a lot to do with the prep. Not to toot my own horn, but like if I wasn't as well prepped, there'd be a lot more. Hold on a second. Like I was going over that story in my head every single day in leading up to it, so I just knew the story inside and out. And I'll do the same thing with part 2.
Oh yeah. Also, make no mistake. Like Troy is not magical. Like when we're playing a sandbox adventure, and he says, and we say we want to go over here. We cut out 25 minutes of dead air as we step away from the table. He draws a map. He rereads that part. Then we come back to the table and play. And it sounds like he was like, okay, roll a check on the door. As if he had everything prepped and memorized. Like, no, not at all. The map's all ready to go for every encounter.
That fight in the brewery, for example, I think you guys were we're going to the brewery.
And you were like, you're going to the brewery now?
And then I'll go like this. Everybody will be silent. I'll be like, go away. Yep. I'll sit there, read it, draw the map.
We'll get some air and hang out a little
bit.
In.
Now, I don't have that option when we go live, but
but the other thing is, like, a lot of times it's rules. It's little rule lookups. During the Twitch, we were able to ask you guys. Yeah. And that was really fun. Is it this or is it this? We're going to move on for the moment, but let us know. And they were like, no, it's this. All right. Well, we corrected it and moved on.
Right.
So that was really helpful, too. And that was something that would normally be cut out that was not in this case. All right. Let's finish it up with this one. Malini 1922 asks, can you bring your baby as a guest on the next Twitch stream? Can you bring your baby?
My baby.
On the next Twitch stream? Well, I don't know. I think I could get my kid, my 2-year-old, on a Twitch stream at some point. It would just be for a brief hello, because otherwise she would be awful and really, really annoy everybody. But no, but she's so cute. I just want to share her with everyone.
Well, I'm having a fantasy football draft here next Sunday, and I think my wife's going to bring the baby by to say hi to everybody.
To see all those dirty dudes.
They're not allowed to touch him. But I'll be like, look at my baby. All right, honey. See you later. But maybe some point.
Keep him in a mosquito net while he's inside the room.
In a bubble. But yeah, maybe at some point. Joe and I have already joked about, like, when we're able to do this full time, they'll just be packing plays all over the place.
Yes, exactly. We'll just be bringing the kids to work. All right, guys, that is going to wrap it up for us. Could we possibly even have any more announcements?
There's nothing left. We said them all.
A wild month of announcements. I hope that this gave you guys some insight into our brains and what we've been working on and thinking about over the last month, not only just in terms of the content of the shows, but in terms of our plans for the fall and into 2019 when you're talking about live shows. This excitement of Strange Aeons. I hope you guys are on board and with us. And as always, write into us at glasscannonpodcast@gmail.com with your thoughts. And, we read all those emails. It's harder to respond these days to all of them. Skid does a really great job of that when he can. But those suggestions get through, and we do think about a lot of that stuff. So hearing from you guys is important. And obviously, supporting us on Twitch has been huge. Friday night, as we told you, we got crossed over into that. We didn't actually cross over, but we got the option to apply for partner status on Twitch, which I'm sure it's just a matter of time. And then we're there, and that's because of you guys. So keep supporting us when you can. Be here live. Even if you can't, just try to like put it on live on some device and keep it to the side. All those numbers really help us build that Twitch following that can just kind of launch us into the next hemisphere where we're trying to get.
Yeah. So here's what you got to do. You gotta pre-order a maple syrup T-shirt. First of all, you don't want to be the only idiot.
Here's your to-do list after today's episode.
Go pre-order a T-shirt. They're not going to be around forever. You need to get one. Number 2, you got to come to LA if you want to see us begin Strange Aeons live. Number 3, that $35,000 goal, we're not too far away from it.
It would be crazy if we hit it really fast. I don't think that's going to happen. But as of right now, my intention is to launch this Twitch, this long, juicy Twitch, before we get there if we're not there.
Little freebie,
just
taste.
to show you guys,
Just
because
a little
I'm so
taste.
excited. I'm so excited. I want to share it with you. But to make it a regular thing, we got to kind of start getting in that range.
The Emerald Spire, $35,000 goal. Joe will run it with the Disorganized play characters. We'll kick them back down to first level. We just got a lot going on. Thank you guys for keeping us going, because we are running on fumes.
It is always a pleasure to see you guys. Thank you for being with us today, and we will see you
in
hell.
hell.
Oh man, the weather's going to be a lot different, man. It's going to be the end.
But in hell would be a good ending.
You said that off mic. He's not helping.
I'll see you in hell, I said.
All right, guys.
All right.
Take it easy. We'll see you next time.
Look what I got to work with.